お姉さんかわいいね帽子ちょっと斜めになってるねお姉さんがさっき走ったから
そうですね。
疲れたぶっ殺せばいいじゃんあいつらあぶっ飛ばせばいいじゃん殺すのはダメだから日本と
As more people choose to travel, we'll see more incidences like this one, where this young lady got into it with a security staff in a resort in Jamaica. And Americans have a reputation overseas for going overseas and expecting overseas to be like America. In effect, expecting to be treated as they would be in America, or better said, expecting to have the same rights to act the same way that they will in America and still be treated the same way they would be. And this is very far from the truth. If Snoop Dogg can go to Norway and be detained for carrying paraphernalia, or heck, one of the Beatles can get detained for 9 days for carrying illegal paraphernalia into Japan, then you have to ask yourself, what's so special about you? That's something I think a lot of Americans have trouble with. And so they carry a lot of the things that they carry from America, and they have I call it the I'm me syndrome, where I'm supposed to be treated special because I'm who I am. And when you live in a society that has more groupthink, the groupthink is, why don't you know how to behave? Everyone else knows it, why don't you? One of the scariest sights for black men in America is the sight of flashing blue and red lights behind your car, because many times you just don't know how quickly it will escalate. More times than not, it doesn't escalate, but there are times when it does, and it's one of the things that makes a lot of black men consider passport bros. But generally speaking, the police job in America is such a dangerous job that you can't not respect police officers. I mean, these guys are literally putting their lives on the line on a daily basis. And so I have a healthy respect for police officers, the overwhelming number of police officers who are policing America as best as they can. Depending on the country that you go to, the job of the police is going to vary because the place that you're in is going to have different needs. And so in Japan, I can speak to my encounters with the police. Generally speaking, your encounters with the police will be if there's some kind of issue, like maybe a fire in a building, or if there's some kind of major offense, which is rare. But generally speaking, it's going to be a traffic violation, or it's going to be a bike violation. Often you'll see the police patrolling with these wooden sticks, and my policy is to just bow my head and say good afternoon and keep it moving. But when I see them walking with the Donatello sticks, I think it's Donatello, I know that they can get some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on you. And so it's wise to not only have a healthy respect for their job, but to know the basic phrases to speak when you have an encounter with them. For anyone that's considering going overseas or living overseas, you need to take the time to understand the proper honorific terms. So if I speak to someone and I put san at the end, that's just Japanese because I'm in Japan, they're going to know that I'm showing a level of respect. And so if I can say Omawari-san, which is the way to say police, it's me saying I took the time to learn the word, and I'm using the word as a way of being honorific when I'm addressing you. But if I can only say police, nande, or why, nande means why, then the policeman is going to be taken aback, and he might see the situation as being escalated. Another thing you need to do is you gotta take the time to learn the proper honorifics. Learn how to say please and thank you and what seems to be the problem in the right polite terms, even if your pronunciation is off. If I can say nan no mondai desu ka or nanka mondai ga arimasu ka, that is a way of me saying I don't think I did anything wrong, but I took enough time to study the language to illustrate that I don't know anything wrong and I think that you're making a mistake. Because trust and believe, if you're a dark-skinned person, especially in a metro area, you're going to get profiled. And you could say it's fair, it's unfair. It is what it is, at least for Japan. But the police are simply doing their job because let's be honest, most Japanese people are not going to try to do things like, consume illicit drugs in Japan. Some of them do. I'm not saying all, but many foreigners come to Japan or go to other countries thinking they can live the same way they can in America. And that's one of the reasons why people get profiled.
トラフィックライトレッドの時、ちゃんとストッププリーズ。お、大丈夫？大丈夫。これお兄さんの自転車。your bicycle。
はい。
チェック OK。チェック OK。
bicycle?
You see how cordial the policeman is? It's a breath of fresh air. I will honestly say it. I've never really had a bad run-in with Japanese police, but you can see the level of cordiality that's there. He's only asking to make sure that the bicycle is registered because many people steal bicycles without registering them, which takes 5 minutes at the local police box.
This bicycle yours?
Huh? Yes.
Yes.
It's good
確
English.
認、チェック OK。チェック。これ。Your name, please.
Hallelujah. This is my bicycle. My bicycle.
ちょっと。
You always send them.
Oh, okay.
That's her, right?
Oh.
We have to stop.
Okay, that's all. That should be.
Yeah, it looks like he ran probably a red light that was for walking, and there were no cars, and so he probably ran through it, and the policeman saw him.
出ない。身分証だけ見せてもらうように。
I did.
And he's showing his ID. He's carrying his passport everywhere he goes. Interesting. No problem. So that was a good example of, even if you can't speak very well the language of the place that you're going, if you're cordial, and I guess if you have some help with someone that's a native, you could probably avoid getting into major trouble from something simple like, riding a bicycle, which is a crime if you don't register it and is stolen. But this shows a different aspect.
Where is this bicycle? Who?
My bicycle.
Your bicycle?
Yeah.
Your bicycle. When buy this bicycle? When?
When?
When bought your bicycle?
Maybe.
When did you bought
Maybe like 6 months ago.
Where?
Sangdanjaya.
Sangdanjaya.
So you're supposed to buy a bicycle properly and register it properly. They stop you for bicycles, and if you know this, you can avoid these kind of lengthy encounters by just having the sticker on your bicycle and being clear about the fact that you have it registered.
Nani?
That's
What happened?
Don't ask that way. That's not a great.
Nani?
Patrol.
Patrol?
Patrol.
Why stop me? Why stop me?
先週来たばっか。
先週来たばっか
ジュライって先週だよ。
ジュライ4月ですね。
だったらおかしくない？
So he said that he bought the bicycle 6 months ago, and they're checking,
こいつ前に買ったらおかしくないこれ。
they're not seeing there's a hole in the
先週買ったば
story,
っかじゃん。そうだよね。
or at least for them it is.
日本語少しわかります。
そうっすね。
6ヶ月前に買ったっておかしい。
あ、でも、
いる。
So kashi means something is strange. Generally speaking, if you're riding at nighttime,
してるんで、この前からいます。
be sober.
Why stop me?
Wait.
Ask that, don't. The best thing to say is nanka mondai arimasu ka, or nanka misete hoshin desu ka? Not nani. That is a very direct, it's almost like talking down to the police. He said nani by itself. Mondai wa nan de gozaimasu ka? That's the way you talk to a Japanese policeman. What seems to be the problem in proper honorifics? But saying nani, the word what by itself, is a challenge to their authority.
English?
He said that he bought the bike 6 months ago, but there's not matching the story, so they have to check it and make sure the bike is indeed not stolen or his story checks out.
No. Why?
My parents always taught me to never answer authority in one-word answers. Even filming the police it's easy for black people to go overseas and feel profiled. It's part of the I'm me syndrome in that people might think that, well, they're just stopping me because I'm black and they think that black people are inherently more criminal. And okay, let's just assume that is the case. There are so many foreigners going in and out of your particular country. There's no reason why they should randomly think that you particularly are a criminal until you give them a reason to think you are one. So if you look at it that way and not looking at it as I'm a victim, they're doing something to me, and just saying these guys are just trying to do their job, I'm going to make their job easier by giving them the information that they need and then keep it moving. That's the best way to deal with the situation. And I'm going to show you an example of one step further where if you learn the language, you can turn the encounter into something even more positive. This situation appears to be some kind of encounter that happened outside of a 7-Eleven, and many places, especially in big cities where younger people may not have the money to go to bars or they just want to be outside, you just go to a convenience store, buy a couple of beers, buy some yakitori sticks, some food, some snacks from inside, and you just chat up with your friends on the corner while you're drinking beers. And that's perfectly legal. They're not bothering them for that. There's something that happened. I'm not sure how serious it was, but this is a Filipino gentleman, and he's going to actually flirt with the police officer. The officer on the right is a female police officer. I don't have to translate all of it, but you saw it in the beginning. Watch her body language and her facial expressions, because she is actually very pleased at the way he speaks with her.
お姉さん、可愛いね。
See that?
帽子ちょっと斜めになってるね、お姉さん。
Yeah, your hat's crooked.
さっき走ったから疲れた。ぶっ殺せばいいじゃん。あいつらあ、ぶっ飛ばせばいいじゃん。殺すのはダメだから日本で。
Yeah, so you can hear that they're from a different country, but again, it just goes to show how valuable it is if you master or put in time learning the language. I would say that anyone who is looking to go overseas, you should spend a good month just mastering basic phrases. And if you get in a situation where those basic phrases aren't enough, you can rely on someone that's a native. But if you put in the time to learn the phrases, it's going to be an expression to the people you're talking to that you're not an American who's there to just trample on their culture and think that I'm better than you and all that other stuff. You're actually showing a sign of respect by trying to use the language. Do that and you're going to get some credit points that I can assure you are going to help you if you get into a situation where you get into an encounter with the police. Don't think that I'm going to be able to speak English everywhere and they should understand it, because you heard policemen trying to use English in Japan. And that in itself is a very respectful way of saying we're trying to cooperate and understand you. So if you're going to another country, do the same, do them a solid, put in the work to learn not just the phrases, but the honorifics, how to say please and thank you, and ma'am and sir, and Mr. and Mrs. Because I can assure you, it'll pay off if you get in the wrong situation. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.